Brazilian football has a unique word for when one team completely dominates another, freguesia. It comes from the Latin filius ecclesiae, which evolved into meaning a loyal customer of a store. In football culture, fans shout, "É meu freguês," to say, "You are my customer." In English, you might call it a one-sided rivalry or a bogey team. Another common term is paternidade, meaning football fatherhood. Today, we are looking at 10 of the most absurdly relevant one-sided rivalries in Brazil. This is not a definitive ranking, but these 10 stories of total dominance will blow your mind. Let's dive right in. 10. Vasco versus Botafogo. We start with the famous Clásico da Amizade. In knockout tournaments, Botafogo holds a clear upper hand against Vasco, boasting 11 qualifications against Vasco's 5. However, the overall historic record tells a completely different tale. Vasco holds a massive 54-win advantage here. Out of 379 total matches, Vasco has 162 wins, while Botafogo has only 108. Fascinatingly, they have 109 draws, meaning Botafogo has tied more times than they have actually won. Vasco also holds the biggest blowout with a 7-0 victory in 2001, and Roberto Dynamite scored 25 goals against them. 9. Sport vs Santa Cruz. Number 9 takes us to the Northeast. If you ask Santa Cruz fans, they will instantly brag about the ultimate blowout in this matchup, a historic 7-0 destruction over Sport back in 1934. But outside of that isolated explosion, Sport owns this classic. They hold the biggest victory gap in Brazilian derby history, with a staggering 69-win advantage over their rivals. Across 573 games, Sport has won 239 matches compared to Santa's 170. Sport even went 15 consecutive matches completely undefeated against them between 1962 and 1965 to cement their dominance. 8. Bahia versus Vitória. Number 8 is the legendary Bavi Derby. Vitória keeps it highly respectable in knockout stages, winning 16 state finals directly against Bahia, while Bahia has won 14. In the Copa do Nordeste, Vitória also won 2 direct finals against 1 for Bahia. Yet the overall league history belongs entirely to one side. Bahia completely dominates the fixture with 198 wins against Vitória's 154. Leaving them with a strong 44-win advantage. They have played 507 times across the A, B, and C series of the Brazilian League. Bahia went undefeated for 17 straight games from 1986 to 1988 and secured a historic 10-1 victory way back in 1939. 7. Santos versus São Paulo. Number 7 is the Sansão Derby. Santos completely owns the 21st century knockouts here. They lead 11-6 in elimination matches, and São Paulo has not eliminated Santos a single time this century. Despite that cup success, São Paulo holds a crushing upper hand in the historic record. In 328 total games, São Paulo has racked up 141 wins, while Santos has 110, alongside 77 draws. São Paulo delivered a brutal 9-1 beating to Santos in 1944. They also kept Santos from winning a single derby match for 8 long years, spanning a painful gap from 1940 to 1948. 6. Palmeiras versus Vasco. Number 6 is the Clásico da Fraternidade. Vasco fans can always smile about defeating Palmeiras in the 1997 Brasileirao final and their historic comeback in the Duas-Susan Mercosul final. But when you look at the full picture, Palmeiras holds an overwhelming 33-win advantage over Vasco. In 139 total matches, Palmeiras has secured 65 wins, while Vasco has only grabbed 32. Palmeiras even went on a brutal 14-match unbeaten streak against Vasco starting in 2015. Vasco finally broke that painful 11-year curse recently in March 2026. Their first Brasileirão clash in 1967 ended 5-0 for Palmeiras. Before we hit the top 5, a quick shout-out. A channel subscriber created and sent me a browser card game featuring Brazilian football legends. I tested it myself, and it is incredibly fun and entirely free. The link is right down in the description. By the way, if you have a cool project like this, consider becoming a channel member so we can chat and I can showcase your work here. Now, back to the action. 5. Corinthians versus Santos. Opening our top 5 is the intense Clásico Alvinegro. Santos fans will always fondly remember the Pelé era, where Corinthians went 24 matches without beating them in the State League between 1957 and 1968. Santos also won the historic 2002 Brasileirão final right over their rivals, but outside of those golden eras, Corinthians leads this matchup with 140 wins against Santos's 113 across 357 games. That gives Corinthians a 27-win advantage. They destroyed Santos 11-0 back in 1920, dominate the knockout record 10-3, and even kept Santos winless for 7 years between 1976 and 1983. 4. Atlético Mineiro versus Cruzeiro. Number 4 is the fierce Minas Gerais Derby. Cruzeiro actually fires back where it matters most by dominating knockout encounters, securing 25 advancements compared to Atlético's 20. However, Atlético Mineiro holds a clear 39-win advantage in the overall historic records. Atlético's official count shows 215 wins against 176, while Cruzeiro's count shows Atletico leading 203 to 175. They have played either 535 or 516 games depending on the source. Atletico secured the biggest blowout in derby history with a 9-2 victory in 1927 and enjoyed a 13-game undefeated streak in the mid-1980s. 3. Flamengo versus Vasco. Number 3 is the Clásico dos Milhões. Vasco holds a proud history here, owning the biggest win with a 7-0 thrashing in 1931 and the longest unbeaten run of 23 games between 1945 and 1951. But modern times have turned this into a massive Flamengo dominance, building a 29-win advantage. Out of 430 matches, Flamengo has recorded 168 wins compared to Vasco's 139, with 123 draws. Flamengo dominates knockouts 22-10. Recently, Flamengo won 15 out of 22 matches, while Vasco only won 2. Vasco is also currently on a painful 14-game winless streak in the Brasileirao against them. 2. Palmeiras versus Santos. Number 2 is the Clásico da Saudade. Santos actually fights back well in direct knockout ties, leading Palmeiras with 8 qualifications and titles against 7 in elimination formats. But the overall numbers tell a very painful story for Santos. Palmeiras boasts a massive 46-win advantage, capturing 154 wins against Santos's 109 across 356 total matches. Palmeiras famously won the massive 2020 Libertadores final against them. Their longest streak was an incredible 15-game undefeated run against Santos that lasted between 1917 and 1926. Number 1 is Corinthians versus Vasco. Vasco's history has heavy counterweights, like 2 5-0 blowouts in 1928 and 1934, plus a famous 5-2 win in 1980, where Dynamite scored 5 goals in front of 107,000 fans. Yet, Corinthians' recent psychological dominance over Vasco is legendary, holding a 23-win advantage. In 132 games, Corinthians has grabbed 59 wins against Vasco's 36. Alongside 37 draws. Corinthians defeated Vasco to win the 2000 Club World Championship, marking the first time clubs from the same country played a world-level final. They also won the 2025 Copa do Brasil at the Maracanã. Additionally, they had that iconic 2012 Libertadores elimination. Vasco even suffered a brutal 14-year winless curse against Corinthians from 2010 to 2024. They are also the only giant team never to win a single match at the Neoquímica Arena. That wraps up our look at 10 incredible one-sided rivalries in Brazil. I know many of you will say, I missed a specific match, so let me know your favorite Freguesia in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. The most liked comments will help shape a part 2 for the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the links below. See you next time.